let's talk about numbers on your website. It's everybody's favorite subject, right? Right? It's mine, but I get it. It's not everybody's favorite subject. So today I have just a few tips for the most simple, basic numbers analytics that you can keep track of on your website that will help you to know if it's working with you and working well for you, for your clients, for your audience. And maybe that'll help take some of that apprehension away, since not everybody loves numbers like I do. I'm Appy from iCodeHappy, and I love helping people with the tech that can be so frustrating and confusing when we're trying to run our own businesses. And sometimes it feels like the tech and the numbers, the website, all the things are just so overwhelming. So I'm here to help with that. So this video comes in a series of website updates, website maintenance, website backups. And the next step was for me to give you a demo of my handy dandy freebie printable how often to update your website checklist. One of the items on this checklist is to review your analytics. And that's a little bit vague, so I'm going to start with just that single item from this checklist. And we're going to do a little bit of a demo today just on the absolute basics of analytics for your website. So there's two numbers that you can start with that will help you start to get a snapshot of what your website is doing for you. And the first item is conversions. What's a conversion? Somebody takes an action that you want them to take on your website. And if we're doing our businesses right, that's an action that also gets them what they want. So they make a purchase. They sign up for your email list. Maybe they download your lead magnet. Maybe they click the phone number and call you if you're a local business or a local service. Maybe they follow you on social media. Did they take the action that you're looking for? And so that's the first piece. The second part of this is how many opportunities for that thing to happen were there. So if we had a certain number of sales, how much website traffic did it take to get that number of sales? And maybe it's 10 sales, maybe it took 1,000 people. That's 1%. If you had 10 sales and it only took you 100 people at 10%, wow, that's pretty cool. And that's something that you need to know, because that tells you, out of the number of opportunities, how many people took action. Maybe you had 10,000 people come to your website and only 10 people bought. Either those weren't the right people, or they weren't finding what they wanted on your website, or maybe they were, but it was free content and they didn't buy anything. Will you ever know it all and with complete certainty? Not likely. But you can start to get clues that can start to inform how your business is going, how well your website is serving the audience. So the first thing we need is a time frame. Monthly, weekly, daily, depends on your business. If you have maybe a current launch, maybe you're wanting to look at it every day. That is a little bit too much for most of the time, for a lot of my clients anyway. So maybe you want to look at it more on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. We're going to look at March 2025. And so you can see that on this particular website, we had 27 sales. So that was the conversion. That's the thing we were looking for, to see how many people would take that action. And the traffic for this particular website was 1,418 people. And so when you do that division, 27 sales out of 1,400 people, you get a conversion rate of 1.9%, almost 2%. That's actually pretty good. For this particular snapshot, for this particular month, we're getting a certain number of sales out of a certain number of traffic. And that's a snapshot that you can do pretty simply, pretty easily, and you can see what that looks like for your business. And once you know what that looks like, then you can target how you want it to change. Because then maybe your conversion rate would need to increase. So that would mean you would work on the website side and making sure that there's no friction in your sales pages. There's really clear pathways to get to the popular products that people want, whatever it is. Those are things that you can work on if you want the conversion rate to increase. If you're okay with the conversion rate and you just got to get more people there, more of the right people there, then you can work on the marketing side, drawing people to the website. And what are those kinds of things that you can do to attract more people who might purchase? One caveat, just because you get more traffic does not mean that you will have the same conversion rate. You won't necessarily have the same ratio of people that are going to buy just because the traffic increases. And the story for that is a client that ran some ads and tripled their traffic, but their sales did not triple. They went up by a little bit, but their conversion rate dropped way down because they had more traffic, but approximately the same amount of sales, maybe a few more, but not anywhere close to triple. So be careful in the assumptions you make as you make these changes and track them so that you know what the effects are. And then that can show us trends and show us if the things that we're doing are effective. So we're going to take a look at one of my clients here who has graciously allowed me to share their data. I keep track of it for them. And so we're looking at their Google Analytics. We're looking in the reports, and then under acquisition, and then under traffic acquisition. And what we're looking at is here's your number of 1,418 sessions. Now, this is not users, this is sessions. What's the difference? So if I go to a website 3 times, I count as 1 user. For traffic acquisition, if I go to a website 3 times, that counts as 3 visits, 3 times that somebody has visited your website, even if it's the same person. Does it matter which one you keep track of? No. Again, you're going to see trends and you may want to look at both. But when you keep track of something over time, just make sure you get the same number every time so that you're consistent. So we're looking at traffic, and this total here is this dashed blue line. And so that tells you over the days how many visitors per day total came to the website. When you come to this report, it's going to show you the total, and then it's going to show you the traffic based on these categories that it has already pulled out a little bit. And that's helpful. So what if we want to go a little deeper? What if we want to know more about which social media is sending traffic our way? You can click on this session primary channel group, come down to source medium, and now there's a whole bunch of things in this list, and this is getting really overwhelming. So what do? What are we looking for? Some of this is knowing what is important and what you can ignore. So here's something interesting is Pinterest is sending some traffic. Facebook is sending some traffic. So if you add up the different Facebook entries, you can get how many people came directly from Facebook to your website. That starts to be pretty helpful. What about email marketing? Is that working? Are people clicking the links from your email to your website? So the idea here is not to say, okay, not many people come from Instagram, so I'm just going to quit posting on Instagram. Everybody's coming from Facebook or Pinterest, so I'm just going to do that. The idea is to show you the spectrum of what's going on and help you focus your efforts so that you're making the best decisions you can about where to spend your time and money, not to eliminate a platform or just not bother with it, but maybe to shift time and energy depending on where the strongest traffic is from. And don't forget, this is traffic. This is not sales. So taking that a step further, and if you're able to see where your sales come from, which Google Analytics does have some of that information, but it may not have it all. So let's take a look at what it looks like to keep track of your website traffic over time. So these are the opportunities that people have to take action. It gives you a little bit of a trend. And when you track these things over weeks, over months, over seasons, over years, you might start to see seasonality. You might start to see a correlation with other events. If you want to see your website traffic grow, then this is something you can keep track of and you can see what works and maybe what doesn't work. Here's the conversion rate. If you divide the number of conversions or actions taken that you're interested in, specific to you, divided by the opportunity or the traffic, then you can calculate this percentage. What this tells you is that the people who are coming to your website, how many of them complete a purchase? And you can start seeing trends because when they're getting to your website and they make a purchase, then they're finding what they want at the price they want. Your website is doing its job. And if you have plenty of people coming, but they're not buying, then it's time to look at your website and do a little bit of evaluation to see why not. So this is the place to start. These two simple numbers, how many people come to your website and how often do they take the action that you're interested in? Do they purchase? Do they fill out a contact form? Do they download a lead magnet and get on your email list? For a lot of us, we can track at least some of those things. And as we do that over time, we can start to get a little bit of a picture of what our normal conversion rate is in our business. And it can start helping us understand where we can make improvements and have our website work better for us. And then the next level is to start asking where these people come from, where I should focus my efforts, where do they come from when they buy, what does the rest of my ecosystem look like, what happens when I change something over time. And those are the basics of starting with your website analytics. They can be incredibly helpful in making sure that you are putting your valuable resources in a direction that is getting you where you want to go. And the data and the feedback, if things aren't going in the right direction, you can try something else. Although you do have to give yourself enough time to see the changes reflected in the data. Sometimes things take a little bit longer than you expect. So I know that's numbers and I know that can get overwhelming really quickly, but hopefully that helped, that just a couple of numbers over time can really start giving you some insights into your business and your website and how they're working for you. And that's that one little piece of keeping track of your analytics that is on this how often to update your website freebie. You're welcome to download this, and now you know what to do when you get to that item. And if that was helpful, then come back and see me again. We'll do some more demos. Thanks for watching.